Hey team, it's Chef Ross. I'm here to show you how to break down a whole chicken. Let's look at the different parts of a chicken first. So over here we have the wing, which is composed of the tip, the flat, and the drumette. Then we have your two breasts, we have your drumsticks, and we have your thighs. Very important part is to have your mise en place ready, so you have your cutting board on top of a wet towel so it's not sliding around. And we have a dry towel here to make sure that the chicken is nice and dry. That way it's not sliding around on the cutting board. And we have a nice sharp boning knife right here. Very first step is to take the wishbone out right here. It's going to be the shape of a V, so you really want to scrape in, go on both sides, scraping off any extra flesh that's attached to the bone. Again, it's essentially the collarbone of the chicken, so you can use your hands to kind of glide through. Sometimes it's broken, sometimes it's whole. You just have to feel through. And this one seems like it's a little broken, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually etch it out a little bit. You can feel it. Again, it's a bone the shape of a V right here. So it's on both sides. And then you can go ahead and pinch the top and twist if it is giving you a little bit of a hard time. And right here, so that's one side of it. Then you have the other side as well. Just making sure that if it's attached to cartilage, you can go ahead and actually aid it with your knife to get that part off. So again, it's usually attached the shape of a V. Next, we're gonna take off, making sure that you are keeping your cutting board clean. Take off the wings. But what you want to do, since we're gonna focus on two different types of breasts, we're gonna focus on having an airline, a Statler airline breast, which means that there's a French bone that's attached, the French drumette. And so we're gonna do that by going in between here, where the elbow is. You're gonna take your knife, and you're gonna go right where the elbow is, right there. Again, right here. So if it bends this way, you want to actually hyperextend it and pull it back. Nice, clean French bone right there. And you're gonna take that off. So this is the flat and the tip attached together. You can save that for stock, or you can actually cook that later on. So same thing here, right where the elbow is, the armpit, so to speak, right here. Then you're gonna actually cut into the cartilage a little bit, and then you're gonna hyperextend it. See, it bends this way, so you want to bend it the opposite direction, and then cut that off. Okay. So now we want to go ahead right in the middle, right here. The key is to make sure to cut through the skin first and not through the flesh. So I'm just gonna go right down the center, just to cut through the skin only for now, right? Then you're gonna go towards one side, slowly using the curve of your knife, and it's gonna go towards one side of the actual keel bone over here. You're just gliding it slowly, peeling it away from the bone. And then you're just gonna follow what is the rib cage right here. Over here you can detach. Everyone has their different techniques. You can detach right here where the actual leg and the thigh are. Some people like to do that first. Depends on what you're comfortable with. Just to disconnect the skin. Same over here. Just making sure that most of the skin is staying attached to the breast. So again, I'm just cutting through the skin. That way I can actually keep all of this skin attached to the breast. And I'm just gonna finish doing what I was doing as far as peeling away. If you need to, go ahead and position your chicken to where it's comfortable. And you're just gonna peel away slowly, and you're pretty much separating the flesh from the actual bone. So, now if the wishbone was still there, it'd be in the way. So luckily we already got that out of the way. And you're just peeling away slowly, slowly. Here, if you need to disconnect, you can. Now the only other part that's attached to this is where the drumette is attached to the actual breast. So if you need to shift it around and look, disconnect some of the skin right here so it's not so attached still. And then you're just gonna go right underneath where this drumette is, and you're just gonna disconnect where that bone and cartilage is still attached. Clearing your fingers away and separating that out first. So over here we have your nice breast with your Frenched bone right here. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna put this right here for now, so I can show you. Now over here, you'll see a curve. I want you to go ahead and actually do a circle cut right there to make sure you get all the breast meat, and then you're gonna do the same thing on the other side to make sure that you are taking the flesh away from the bone. Slowly, right here. And if you need to, go ahead and use long strokes of your knife to make sure it's actually cutting through. Disconnect right here. And really, it's just about kind of finding your positioning. So if I feel uncomfortable here, I'm gonna move it around. I'm gonna find where I'm comfortable. So if you need to as well, go underneath where this bone is. Take it, and you're just gonna disconnect where the cartilage is attached, making sure you get all that breast meat, flipping it over. And now we have the breast right here. Now what you wanna look at is that this is the chicken tender, so you can detach it. That way you can get more even cooking on the breast as well. So you can actually detach that tender. So you actually have that tender detached right here. And then you can clean up the breast if you need to. This extra fat right here, I'm just gonna take off, right? And now you actually have the breast right there. So over here, I'm just gonna take the tender off. So you have the tender underneath, and trim off the extra fat. Right, extra fat over here. So now you have your two breasts right there, cleaning up your cutting board a little bit. Now you can take the thighs and the legs off first, or you can do the breasts. It's really up to you, it's a preference. But now that I have, over here I have the thighs and the legs left over, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pop it, turn it over, you can turn it over. You can actually pop the hip socket out over here. And now I wanna see the oysters. So these are the oysters right here. So I'm gonna actually do a round cut. I'm turning it off to the side and actually do a round cut for the oyster right here. And I'm using my finger so I can actually see where I'm going to scoop out the oyster, which is just this extra piece of meat over here that's attached to the hip. And then I'm really gonna just glide slowly along the backbone right here, making sure I get all that extra meat for the thighs and the legs attached, and doing the same thing on this side as well. Do a round cut making sure that I use my finger to make sure I get all that extra meat off the bone. And then again, I'm just gliding through it, going in between the socket over here, and then making sure I get all that extra meat by slowly peeling it away. And then this is the actual carcass right here. If you want a nice cleaner carcass with less fat, go ahead and take that off to get a actually nicer stock. Okay, there. You can actually take that fat off as well, so it's not so fatty when you're making your stock. Depending too, sometimes chefs like to cut this back into different pieces. It's really up to you. For a nice cleaner flavor in the stock as well, I like to clean the inside of the carcass. All of this extra parts from the organs, I like to clean that out and rinse it out before I add it into stock. Now, cleaning up my cutting board. What you want to do here is to detach it, turn it over, and there is a fat lineage right here. So there's a fat line, so you want to go towards the side that is closer to the leg. So this is right here, this is where the line is. So I'm going to go a little bit to the side right here, then I should be able to cut straight down. Cleaning up the thigh if I need to. So now you have a nice thigh with the skin still attached right there. And you have your drumstick. Again, over here, one more time. The fat line is right here, so I'm gonna go a little bit to this, more towards the side where the leg is. Clean this up if I need to, remove any extra skin or fat. And now I have my piece right here. Now, if you need to French this bone right here, what you're gonna do is that the knuckle facing up, what you're gonna do is actually hold it down on a cutting board, cut on an angle. You're gonna expose the bone like that. You can actually take the tip and wiggle it, tuck it in. You're gonna wiggle it out a little bit. And you're gonna pop it if you can. If it's a little bit tight, you can cut a little bit more, wiggle the tip in there, and it should pop. There we go. Here, so now it's nice and Frenched. And you're gonna cut that knuckle off. So now you have a Frenched drumstick. Okay. And again, let's go over the pieces one more time so you can see it. Now this is one way of doing the chicken, but it's really up to you depending on the application, and you can learn it different ways from different chefs. So this is what Frenched, right, versus not Frenched, or mâchonnade is a French terminology for that. Then you have your thighs right here. You have your wing flat and tip. Then you have your breast right here. And then you have your two tenders as well from the actual breast. And now you are having your chicken laid out. These you can saute, you can roast these in the oven, depending on the different types of cooking techniques that you want to practice.